Aloha!
Aloha!
Well, have you ever had a bad day, or even just part of a bad day, really bad moment, or a bunch of bad moments that all smush into one and they make just this kind of catastrophic bad time? I have.
And you're thinking of something that can help to moderate that a little bit. You know, the last video I was talking about news networks and how they can fill us with fear all the time. But we can think, what else is there?
Well, not even fear. For me, it's just a sense of kind of despair and helplessness. And really, is that what the world is coming to? Because I know a lot of nice people. In fact, almost everybody I know is a fabulous, wonderful human being. And then I think, how is this happening? And I start to get pretty dejected.
Modern news can do that to people.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're trying to find news that's more balanced and factual. Nordic Resilience gave us some good examples with the coronavirus, some examples of places you can go where you get information that is from people that are thinking lucidly and clearly and aren't being consumed by fear or trying to create something really dramatic to get a lot of views, but just presenting facts and saying, here's my opinion on them.
I forgot I have sunscreen all over my face. That's why I look kind of weird.
Yeah.
I have the white stuff on
You're
my
not
lips.
just pale.
Been in Hawaii for 6 months now.
And you're looking awfully pale.
Yeah, it can be a bummer, but there's one place that I like to go. It's called the Good News Network. And I have to say, at first I was a bit skeptical, the Good News Network. But after a while, I'd peek over his shoulder if he was going to find some interesting story, and I'd see a list of all these different things that just made me feel better. And maybe that's a lame reason for doing it, but when I have those moments that are awful, or a day that's kind of down, or I'm just kind of feeling Eeyore-ish, if I go there, I don't even have to read the full story. I just start scrolling through and I see people helping each other, people helping animals, interesting scientific discoveries that are making a difference in the environment. And it really just perks me up. It's an alternative to the stupid cat videos that I know sometimes people watch, or whatever silly animal videos.
If we take news as information from the world about things that are happening, then good news is just as vital and just as real as the bad news that we usually hear. And it is inspiring to hear about people that have taken a lot of money, they're wealthy, and they've done really good things with it. Or they found something really valuable that belonged to somebody else and they returned it to that person. You read about all these good deeds. It really is good for the science geek in me, because they often have really cutting-edge science stuff that I don't see anywhere else, about medical science and new materials being developed, all kinds of really cool science stuff.
Yeah, so I guess we're here just saying, well, first of all, they didn't pay us to say this. We're here just saying, if you're looking in the morning, you're having your cup of coffee, and you're thinking, the regular news is just kind of getting me down, and this is not a great way to start my day. Or if you have a bunch of those moments that make the day kind of like that, Good News Network. Just scroll through a little bit. It doesn't even take that long to find a few things that start making you feel a bit better about humankind and about what's going on and what we're putting our energies towards. And then that makes me feel renewed. There's a few places where it's like, oh, hope is shining through.
Just an alternative. Now there's two more parts to this video. The first one is for people that want to go deeper into this, and the second is for people that want to go really deep into it. Apologies at this location for the car noise. I will be in quieter environs quite soon in upcoming videos. Alright, my friends. The first one is a challenge for you. This is a chance to see your mind and to see how media influences you personally. It's one thing to hear it from somebody, it's another thing to do your own test. The challenge is fairly simple on the surface, though it may be extremely difficult in practice. That is to take 1 week, 7 days, and go cold turkey on whatever media you are currently consuming. CNN or Fox or even even the internet stuff, if it's really balanced, take a break from all of it for 1 week. I promise if something awful happens in the world, people are going to let you know about it. Now for this week, just go to the Good News Network and read that every day. Make sure you go and you visit and read the new articles. And here's what you do. During the course of the week, practice your mindfulness by being aware of how A, it feels to be away from your regular news sources. Do you go through a sort of withdrawal? I know the times when I get hooked on media, I go through a pretty strong withdrawal, and the temptation to go and just get a little bit of news is extremely strong. Feel it inside of you. How strong is that temptation, and do you succumb to it? Are you able to make it the whole 7 days? Secondly, notice how you feel. If you can get over that withdrawal, how does the good news make you feel? Does it change your outlook on life? Does it change your mental processing? Does it change your moods? Does it change how you interact with other people? After you take the challenge, report in the comments below. We can all learn from each other's experiences. All right, the final part of this video is for people that want to go really deep, and you either have to have a basis of mindfulness already present in your life, or you're going to have to develop one before you're able to do this exercise. But this exercise is to notice what happens when you directly come into contact with media. And I will share a story that I experienced. Because I've cultivated a fair amount of mindfulness, I could see this happen in myself. This happened today. We were in town and there was a Hawaii newspaper. And emblazoned across the top was it had to do with coronavirus, and it said, residents are stockpiling food. And what I noticed in myself is this. The whole generative process that leads to media fear, to fear from media. First of all, because of my social conditioning, I give newspapers some amount of authority. In the old days, I thought anything that was printed in a newspaper was true. Now, of course, I know that everything is filtered through people's opinions. However, that old training still persists. So I saw that. And what that did, I could feel, the second step, is that it generated a gut reaction. I could feel a visceral sensation, actually, in the pit of my stomach. What it did is it fired the amygdala, and it created a stress response. From that stress response was generated a thought. And the thought was, maybe I should go and stockpile some food, just get some rice and beans or something for the family. Now, I am not saying that preparing is in any way bad, but in my situation, we are leaving Hawaii not very long from now, and if I stockpiled stuff, I'd really have nowhere to put it, and I'd be ending up leaving it all. And there's tons of wild pigs running around here, so I'm not really worried about feeding the family in a worst case scenario. However, that aside, the important part is that with the mindfulness that I have cultivated in my life, I could feel that generative process. Here's the tricky part. If someone has not developed mindfulness, they will not notice that generative process happening. This is why mindfulness is so important. And then what happens is I see that. I don't notice any of this generative process. I go right to the thought. And I believe, because there's no other way for me to know. I don't have the mindfulness in place. I believe that that thought is my own rationally generated thought. You see how this works? It is so powerful. And then I, believing that is my rationally generated thought, I then will react and I will take action, thinking the action is my own. But it is not my own. It is a created reaction, created by other people. In this way, so many of us go through life. When I say autopilot, I really mean that somebody else is doing the driving for us. We think, this is my opinion, this is my idea, this is my rational action, but somebody else is driving our boat and we are not the pilot. Mindfulness means becoming the captain of our own boat. And why? Because then we can see the generative process happening and we can be aware of it. And I can go, oh wow, look at that. I had this visceral experience, it created a thought, it created a sensation of fear and the urge to perform an action. Now I can step back because I've seen that. I know it's not my own, essentially. I can see it and I can respond to it with conscious deliberation and say, all right, let's look at the situation rationally and decide if stockpiling food is a good option right now. But without that mindfulness, again, somebody else is the captain of our boat. Do you want to be the captain of your own boat? I know a lot of you have already generated a lot of mindfulness, but taking that time in meditation, in mindfulness practice, when you eat the food, when you talk to somebody, speak to them, when you're listening to them, listen to them. Don't become lost in your thoughts. When you are lost in your thoughts, be aware, oh, there I am, going off in my thoughts again. And then come back to listening, come back to eating, come back to washing the dishes. All right, my friends, thank you for watching. Share in the comments any of your thoughts, your own experiences with noticing that generative process, your experiences with doing the challenge, the 7-day challenge, or just tell us what you think about the Good News Network and checking it out. Love to you all. Talk with you in the comments.